The origin of Billy Bob Thornton's story is not in the glitter of Hollywood. He entered this world in Hot Springs, Arkansas on August 4, 1955. Before long, he would start getting parts in supporting roles and work his way up to becoming a Hollywood legend. Along the way, he wed 5 times, the most notable of which was to the divisive Angelina Jolie. However, there is some background information that must be known before we can understand why the renowned couple split up. The relationships that Billy had kept Hollywood talking for a long time, as well as his innate eccentricity and raw skill, were the main draws. His love life has been relentlessly scrutinized due to Thornton's 6 weddings. However, during the peak of their careers, his whirlwind romance with Angelina Jolie was the most publicized union of all time. Their unconventional wedding caught the attention of the media, but all fell apart just 3 years later. Now, after a long season has passed, Billy Bob is finally coming clean about why he and Angelina broke up. Come with us as we unravel the mystery of Thornton's private life and find out what really transpired. What follows are the early trials and humble beginnings. The future superstar touched down in Hot Springs, Arkansas on August 4, 1955. His tenacity and drive stemmed from his upbringing in a small cabin without running water or electricity. He went as far as trying out for the Kansas City Royals in his pursuit of loftier ambitions. Unfortunately, he had to re-evaluate his goals and his future after suffering a devastating injury. The determination he felt in that little plain hut propelled him on in life, and despite baseball's premature closure, he found acting, writing, and legacy renown. Nevertheless, his fortunes in Hollywood would soon shift as he began to appear in increasingly substantial roles. His relationship with Aunt Angelina Jolie was profoundly affected by the more than 5 tumultuous marriages that followed. The tangled web of Thornton's romantic history begins with Melissa Lee Gatlin. Melissa was the first spouse of the young actor, who tied the knot in 1978. Little is known about their lives together in the public eye, but their union set the stage for a tumultuous affair. Amanda was born to Thornton and his wife in June 1979, giving him his first experience as a father. Sadly, the honeymoon was short-lived. Melissa claimed incompatibility and infidelity as grounds for her 1980 divorce petition. Amanda spent much of her childhood with her mom after her parents' divorce, rather than her renowned dad. Tragic events resurfaced years later. Amanda was indicted in 2008 following the untimely demise of a friend's 1-year-old baby while in her care. Among the most notable sentences handed down by the courts was a 20-year term. The Innocence Project's backed attorneys fought tooth and nail, claiming the whole thing was a coincidence. Amanda was able to reintegrate into society outside of prison gates in 2020, after fresh evidence led to her release. Thornton keeps mum when asked about that dark period in his family's history. Following his breakup with Melissa, Thornton was captivated by Toni Lawrence, an actress. They tied the knot for the second time in 1986. Toni, who cult cinema aficionados would recognize from Soul Survivor and Daddy's Deadly Darling, appeared to be the perfect collaborator for the aspiring storyteller. But the reality at home was much more brutal than the fantasies of Hollywood. Tensions arose due to incongruous work schedules and the fact that children were never considered. Petitioners for divorce cited irreconcilable differences within the span of 2 short years. Years later, Toni described Billy Bob as smart but troubled, saying that he spent many nights trying to control his unpredictable mood swings. She remarried after the breakup, moved to Los Angeles, and, away from the paparazzi, worked as a studio potter shaping porcelain. The lessons Thornton learned from his brief marriage were that brilliance is not enough to support a marriage that is already in a precarious position. Even Thornton admitted that the match had been hastily set up, motivated more by chemistry than by genuine, mutually considerate compatibility. Thornton met actress Cinda Williams on the set of the thriller One False Move, which he co-wrote, and they were married for the 3rd time. Their camaraderie on set was natural, and Williams, who was born in Chicago, had previously gained attention in Spike Lee's Mo Better Blues. The flame of genuine love, however, was dim. They were just friends who happened to stumble into a wedding chapel, Thornton said afterwards. They admitted there was no spark and divorced peacefully in 1992 after getting married in 1990. Williams later wed producer Roderick Plummer, and she regularly posts cheerful family photos to Instagram. Demonstration of both parties advance amicably. At the same time, Thornton dove headfirst into a more challenging chapter. Claims of violence and court-ordered restraints cast a shadow over his 1993 marriage to Playboy model Pietro Don Cherniak. His private life would be shrouded in intense media scrutiny for years to come, illustrating how quickly a celebrity's popularity can be transformed into controversy by the rumor mill in Hollywood. Playboy model Pietro Don Cherniak, Thornton's fourth wife, was the most troubled. After their 1993 wedding, they had twin boys, William and Harry, not long after. Despite the photo-perfect family, tensions simmered behind closed doors, despite the fact that they were only 11 months apart in birth. Cherniak said that Thornton had assaulted her with slaps, punches, and shoves, often in front of their children, and she requested a restraining order at the same time she filed for a divorce in 1997. Bruises and nights spent hiding in bathrooms were listed in the court filings. Press gorged themselves on the allegations, splattering stories across tabloids covering entertainment. In a statement, Thornton denied all charges. He finally admitted that our marriage was far from ideal. Unfortunately, I was never that way. He was really concerned that the boys would be the most affected by the public shaming. Whatever the case may be, the actor's reputation took a hit and the tabloids continued to follow his every move, increasing the drama out of a situation that had previously been idyllic. Nobody saw this coming, yet Billy Bob's fifth and most notorious marriage to Angelina Jolie unfolded nevertheless. They were both attached to different projects when they met on the set of the 1999 aviation comedy Hushington. Thornton and actress Laura Dern were engaged in planning to share a house and future together. The divorce with Johnny Lee Miller was formalized not long ago by Jolie. Still, chemical reactions burst forth. Thornton left Dern abruptly and jumped headfirst into Jolie's circle after packing his bags almost overnight. They met in May of 2000 and eloped to Sin City in May of the same year. The ceremony lacked any formality whatsoever. Instead of the usual ostentatious Hollywood garb, Jolie opted for jeans and a pulled-back hairstyle. Tabloids were shocked by the low-key wedding, and Dern in particular was quick to point out that her fiancé was married when she got back from a shoot. A gruesome emblem that captured their strong, unconventional passion. Vials of each other's blood worn as necklaces only served to heighten the public's infatuation with the couple. To onlookers, Thornton and Jolie may have seemed like a strange couple, but they were actually very faithful to one another, to the point of defiance. The enormous Beverly Hills mansion, formerly owned by Slash, the guitarist for Guns N' Roses, was theirs after only a few weeks of house hunting. A maze-like 9-bedroom mansion with a recording studio, a pool lighted by candles, and walls strong enough to drown out nocturnal guitar sounds. However, they almost didn't unload. Months passed as they shook hands in refugee camps, filmed in Canada, and then sped off to Europe for glamour picture sessions. The estate became a pricey storage unit because to their Rolling Stone schedule, proving that not even a rock star's palace could stop them. Even more erratic was their public chemistry. Flashlights captured them embracing, whispering, and kissing so passionately that they ruined each other's makeup during the June 2000 premiere of Gone in 60 Seconds. As bodyguards cleared the area, porters gasped, and tabloids went into overdrive. That evening, a host from MTV wanted to know what the most outrageous thing they had done that day, hoping for a mild response. As they rode over in the limo, Thornton merely grinned and said that they had done it in the small back seat, comparing it to the honeymoon suite. News headlines from London to Los Angeles were sparked by one impromptu confession. Words of mouth spread and became folklore. According to their pals, the two traded underwear as a joke. During midnight rituals, they would light entire constellations of candles, and the mansion would conceal a soundproof love room that was cushioned wall to wall. It seemed like Thornton had no choice but to put some rumors to rest. He did confess that he had worn Angelina's red silk underwear to the gym once as a practical joke, but it was far from a regular occurrence. The importance of facts had waned. Their constant public displays of affection, PDA, and vial of blood necklaces solidified their fame by December. The world could not turn a blind eye to this riveting display, which was equal parts startling spectacle and unfiltered devotion. In July 2001, the newlyweds' use of lockets containing small drops of each other's blood caused the most panic. Wild, contrived images of them parading down Sunset Boulevard while jars of crimson fluid dangle from chains circulate in the gossip. In a subsequent statement, Thornton clarified that all they did was pinch their fingers, apply a small amount of charm, and then seal it. There was nothing gory. No Hollywood romance has ever come close to matching the intensity of their bond, which the myth merely served to magnify. They intended to adopt a child or children by March 2002. A Cambodian orphan named Maddox was 7 months old when Jolie fell in love with him and registered her in Thornton as parents. However, plans changed swiftly as their bond became more fragile. Those in the press wanted to know where Billy Bob was. Jolie made it clear that he had decided not to move forward with the adoption and that she would be the one to finish it. Thornton and makeup effects artist Connie Anglin initially met paths in 2002 on the set of Bad Santa, but they opted for calm deliberation over a quick fix. They dated discreetly for 12 years after their attraction blossomed, remembering how the intense limelight had destroyed his marriage to Jolie. In interviews, she was seldom brought up, and the paparazzi captured hardly anything. In 2008, Thornton went so far as to inform Maxine that he had considered not making Anglin wife number 6 due to the constant harassment they would face from tabloid headlines. Their desire for seclusion triumphed over any desire to delay, and in October 2014, they had a little ceremony in their front yard in Los Angeles. The sole witnesses to the vows were a pastor, a small group of relatives, and a few dogs. Honest promises hidden beneath gloomy branches, without the glitz and glamour of the red carpet or designer flourishes. On that calm afternoon, a guy who had earlier flaunted his devotion with blood bottles proved that he had changed his ways with this small backyard wedding, which proved that peace, not spectacle, had become the compass of his amorous voyage. He claims that the compatibility of Thornton and England's temperaments is what keeps them together. After that crazy, carefree period, he likes Connie's tranquility. "I prefer Connie," he said when chatting with GQ in 2016. Billy Bob values that Connie shares his preference for peaceful evenings because he is a self-proclaimed introvert who feels uncomfortable around influential people. Being homeschooled since kindergarten, their daughter Bella adds even more quality time with their family. Anglin avoids the paparazzi on the red carpet while continuing her career as a makeup artist and effects artist for films like Men in Black and Planet of the Apes. Thornton frequently expresses his gratitude to her for accepting his quirky side. Jolie was busy flying to summit meetings, but Connie stayed home and tinkered. He made light of the fact that he doesn't have to leave their home to record because it doubles as a studio. He gave credit to Connie for that addition on Jimmy Kimmel Live. Evidence that their lives are centered on subtle pleasures, a softer cadence that he much enjoys following couplings that were headline-heavy in the past. Beyond the silent time they spent together, becoming a father again altered Thornton's routine. "We welcomed Bella in 2004. In order to relearn diaper skills and kid songs, he had to wait decades after his older children were born. Whether she's rapping Taylor Swift or showing him TikTok moves, he jokes that Bella's ferocity keeps him on the go. After being together for 12 years, Bella started to wonder why her parents weren't married. As a result of that inquiry, the couple tied the knot in 2014 beneath their sycamore tree in front of their closest friends, family, and canine companions. According to what Thornton told James Corden afterwards, the ceremony was brief, but Bella's smile lingered for days. Now that he's an actor, he has to balance his time between schoolwork, pancake mornings, and his job in movies, music, and series. People hardly venture out in public. Connie did, however, walk the red carpet in 2022 for the Netflix movie The Gray Man. A sign that Thornton's love life is finally feeling stable and consistent, fans saw peaceful grins. That, ultimately, was the driving force behind the whirlwind romance between Billy Bob Thornton and Angelina Jolie. An affair that is both irresistible and volatile, with no end in sight. Their romance lit up red carpets and headlines, became a part of pop cultural lore, and then disappeared nearly as quickly as it had emerged. Decades after it happened, their story continues to reverberate, demonstrating how unbridled emotion can derail meticulous preparation, alter destiny, and leave onlookers gasping for breath. However, the plot continues even after the credits have rolled. The questions we persistently pose ensure its perpetuation. What are the elements that guarantee a memorable romance? Is it the careless buzzing of two insurgents crashing into one another? Or the low-key, unwavering connection that remains long after the lights go out? Maybe it's a crazy combination of the two. Not sure. love at first sight, or a dying flame? Leave a comment telling us what you think. Press that like button, turn on notifications, and hold on tight, because the next shocking episode of Untamed Love Stories, brought to you by Hollywood, is almost here.